liar paradox. If someone tells you, "I'm lying right now," you instantly fall into this paradox. If they are lying, then their statement must be true. But if it's true, then they are lying. This creates a never-ending loop. It's like a riddle with no solution. The liar's paradox shows how language can twist our thinking and leave us stuck in circles. For centuries, people have debated it because it's simple, yet extremely puzzling. Ship of Theseus. Suppose over time every part of the ship is replaced one by one until none of the original pieces remain. The question is it still the same ship? Now take all the old parts and rebuild them into another ship. Which one is the real Ship of Theseus? Some argue it's the continuously repaired ship, while others say the one rebuilt from the original parts is the true original. After all, it carries the identity of the very first ship. This paradox also raises questions about personal identity. If someone goes through major changes like plastic surgery, organ transplants, or even aging, are they still the same person? Sorites paradox. If you have a heap of sand and remove one grain, is it still a heap? Of course. But if you keep removing grains, at what exact point does it stop being a heap? The same puzzle works the other way. If you start with a single grain of sand and keep adding more, when does it officially become a heap? One grain isn't enough, but where is the dividing line? This paradox also connects to life. When do we officially become old or young, again in thought and spirit? Just like the heap, changes happen so gradually that it's hard to say exactly when the shift occurs. Russell's paradox. Can a set contain itself? Consider the set of all sets that don't contain themselves. Set A. It contains itself. Set B. 1, 2, 3. It doesn't contain itself. Let R equal the set of all sets that don't contain themselves. The set R cannot exist without creating a contradiction. If it does, it shouldn't. If it doesn't, it should. This contradiction showed problems in early set theory. Barber paradox. Imagine a village with a special barber. His rule is simple. He only shaves those who do not shave themselves. Now the puzzle is, what about the barber? If he shaves himself, the rule says he shouldn't. But if he doesn't shave himself, the rule says he must. Either way creates a contradiction. This story illustrates the same logical problem as Russell's paradox. Unexpected hanging. A judge tells you, you will be hanged at noon on one day next week between Monday and Friday, but the day will be a surprise. You won't know which day it is until it happens. You start thinking, if you're still alive on Friday, the hanging can't happen, then it wouldn't be a surprise. That means Thursday is also impossible, because if you reach Wednesday, you would expect it. Using the same logic, you eliminate Wednesday, Tuesday, and Monday. By the end of your reasoning, you're convinced the hanging cannot happen at all. But then, suddenly it happens, let's say on Wednesday. You're completely shocked, just as the judge promised. This paradox shows the clash between logic and expectation. Your reasoning seems perfect, yet it fails in reality. It makes you question how knowledge and surprise interact. Even if every step of your thinking seems correct, the outcome can still contradict your expectations. The unexpected hanging paradox reminds you that prediction and certainty can sometimes be misleading, and that human intuition doesn't always align with formal logic. Tolerance paradox. The tolerance paradox was introduced by philosopher Karl Popper, who believed in open and free societies. It asks a puzzling question. Can a society remain tolerant if it tolerates intolerance? Imagine a society that allows everyone to speak freely, including groups that are violent or hateful. If these intolerant groups are allowed to act without limits, they could destroy the very freedoms and tolerance that protect everyone else. In other words, unlimited tolerance can lead to the collapse of tolerance itself. So, what should a tolerant society do? Popper's answer is surprising but clear. A society must be tolerant, but not toward those who are intolerant and aim to harm others or eliminate freedoms. Setting limits in this way protects tolerance and fairness for everyone. Opposite day paradox. You say, today is opposite day. On opposite day, everything you say means the opposite of what you mean. Now think about your statement. If today really is opposite day, then saying today is opposite day actually means it's not opposite day, but if it's not opposite day, then your statement is true, which means it is opposite day. This creates a loop where your statement can't be true or false. It contradicts itself just by being said. Value paradox. Why are some things we need so cheap, while others we barely need are extremely expensive? Think about water and diamonds. Water is essential for life. You need it to survive, yet it's very cheap. Diamonds, on the other hand, are mostly for decoration. They are not necessary for survival, but they are extremely expensive. Why? Economists explain this with value and scarcity. Water is abundant, so its price stays low even though it is essential. Diamonds are rare and hard to find, so people are willing to pay a lot for them, even though they are not necessary. The paradox teaches us that value is not just about usefulness. It depends on scarcity, demand, and human perception. Something can be extremely important but cheap, while something less important can be very costly. Zeno's paradoxes. These are famous philosophical puzzles that explore motion and infinity. In the famous Achilles and the tortoise paradox, Achilles, a swift Greek hero of the Trojan War, can never overtake a slower tortoise with a head start, because he must first reach all points the tortoise has already passed. These paradoxes challenge how we understand space, time, and motion. Paradox of freedom. Imagine a classroom where the teacher tells students, "You are free to say whatever you like." At first, it sounds ideal, but one loud student begins insulting others. Soon, the quieter ones stop speaking out of fear. Freedom, meant for all, now only serves the loudest voice. This is the paradox of freedom. If freedom is unlimited, it can destroy itself. Too much freedom allows the strongest or most aggressive to silence the rest, leaving less freedom overall. Real freedom needs limits, rules that protect everyone's ability to participate, rather than letting power dominate. Prisoner's dilemma. Two burglars are caught and questioned separately. If both stay silent, they get 1 year in prison each. If one betrays the other while the other stays silent, the betrayer goes free, and the silent one gets 3 years. If both betray, they get 2 years each. This is a concept in game theory showing how individuals may not cooperate even when it's in their best interest. It highlights conflicts between personal gain and collective benefit, illustrating why people often make choices that are rational individually but worse collectively. Condorect paradox. This paradox occurs in elections when collective preferences become cyclical and inconsistent, even if each voter's individual preferences are logical. Voter 1, a greater than B greater than C. Voter 2, B greater than C greater than A. Voter 3, C greater than A greater than B. For example, in a vote with 3 candidates, A, B, and C, majorities might prefer A over B, B over C, and yet C over A. This paradox shows that majority voting doesn't always produce a clear winner. Abilene paradox. It happens when a group collectively agrees on a decision that no individual actually wants, often to avoid conflict or please others. For example, a family is sitting at home. One person suggests going to a restaurant far away. Everyone agrees, even though no one really wants to go. Later, they realize they all preferred staying home. So group decisions can fail when individuals suppress their true opinions to conform or avoid disagreement. Gettier problem. Imagine believing something that seems completely justified and true. You have all the right reasons to think it's correct, but due to a surprising twist of circumstances, it turns out to be true by luck rather than genuine knowledge. Even though the belief is true and justified, it isn't real knowledge. A famous example is the Smith & Jones job applicant case. Smith believes that the person who will get the job has 10 coins in his pocket. He has strong evidence. The company told him that Jones is likely to get the job, and he saw Jones counting 10 coins. Based on this, Smith concludes the statement is true. However, by coincidence, Smith himself gets the job, and he also happens to have 10 coins in his pocket. Even though his belief is true and justified, it doesn't count as real knowledge.